Welcome into the Steelers Talk Mailbag. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and this week, the quarterback rumors really started to ignite on Steelers Twitter and in the Steelers media, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions at the quarterback position. Obviously, draft stuff is starting to heat up. Trade free agency and draft stuff is certainly on the docket today on the Steelers Talk Mailbag. So before we get into the questions today, join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community anywhere on this platform. We put out daily community posts and polls for you guys to interact with. And then also we go live every single Monday and Thursday to get you guys updated on all the latest stuff happening in the Steelers offseason. And we have Steelers videos every single day. We do our mailbags and we film these every single Thursday on the Steelers Talk live show. So if you want to get a question on a future Steelers Talk mailbag and have your voice heard in Steelers Nation, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us every single week, Monday and Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for Steelers Talk Live. All right, let's start with Pickensburg Prods. I love that profile picture there, Pickensburg Prods. It says, keep Pickens and get Wilson. If Garrett Wilson wants out, and I don't think he's going to ask out, by the way, all right? Like, Garrett Wilson, the report on him wanting out was if Aaron Rodgers was going to stay. So if Rodgers was going to stay, then Wilson becomes a possibility. But now we know the Jets are not going to be bringing back Aaron Rodgers. So I think Garrett Wilson will be back with the Jets. That's my best guess right now, but the offseason is still young. Who knows what the possibilities could hold. Then we got one from John Stevenson, $2 super chat, says Trevor Lawrence will cost too much is my guess. John, a trade, you don't have to worry about it. A trade for Trevor Lawrence is not going to happen. The report that was originally put out there that the Steelers were inquiring about him has been debunked by multiple people in the media, saying that it is false and untrue. So the Steelers were not interested, or at least they did not give Jacksonville a call to inquire about Trevor Lawrence, or at least that's what everybody else in the media is saying. Then we got Christopher McLinn, $10 super chat here. Appreciate you, Christopher. Says, how can you make a legit conclusion on Russ and Fields being behind horrible O-line play, terrible receiver room, and mediocre run game? Any QB from your list fails with the Steelers offense last year. And, Christopher, it's not a terrible point. All right, I can certainly see where you're coming from with that. But I look at, what these guys do well and what they don't do well, and I project it based on future seasons when hopefully the running back room is good, hopefully when the O-line gets fixed, hopefully when the weapons are better. And honestly, Christopher, I think if they do have a good run game, I think if the offensive line is good and the wide receiver room is good and the defense plays better down the stretch, Russell Wilson would have won a playoff game here in Pittsburgh. I really do believe that. I think Russ can still succeed with a good O-line and a good run game and good weapons and a good defense. But the reality here is that the Steelers with Russell Wilson would need to fix all of it. All right. And they'd have to go like perfect 4 for 4 in those 4 categories for him to have success. If you take away the O-line, he stinks. Run game, nope, sorry. If he doesn't have weapons, sorry, he stinks again. And if you take away the defense, we saw what happened at the end of last season as well. So I still think Russell Wilson is a starting capable quarterback in this league. And I honestly, if they brought him back, I would be okay with it. But it really does make it so that the Steelers have to have like a perfect offseason if they bring him back. And then with Justin Fields, he just has so many issues outside of the rest of the team. His accuracy, his footwork, his timing, his vision. Like a lot of the stuff that's wrong with Justin Fields is on him, not his supporting cast, in my opinion. So he's going to have to get a lot better if he's going to succeed with any supporting cast in the National Football League. So that's why I have other people ranked above Russ and Fields on my desired quarterback list. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What's the % chance that the Steelers bring an outside quarterback this offseason? Somebody that's not Russell Wilson and not Justin Fields. Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comment section. 0 meaning 0 chance. It's either going to be Russ or Fields, or 100% definitely going to be somebody outside of the organization. I will say the recent reports are indicating that the Steelers are definitely doing their homework on the outside options. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then we got one from Sir Mod, $5 super chat here. It says, watching the Eagles, the Steelers are cooked. Offensive line, running back, wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, and secondary are all suspect. Well-built teams are better than a quarterback by himself. Completely agree, Sir Mod. And this is what I'll say about the Eagles and Steelers. Eagles lost 6 of their final 7 games last year. They wanted Nick Sirianni fired last year. Very similar situation. Now, I'm not saying the Steelers are going to be the Eagles next year, all right? The Eagles had one of the best off seasons in the history of the NFL this past year. And, the Steelers are going to have to really put it together here. And like you said, they need to get better at running back. They need to get better at the O-line. They need to get better in terms of the defense. They need to really, establish some consistency down the stretch. The Steelers' defense was elite to start last season. And then towards the end of the year, the secondary and the linebackers and the coverage on the back end just couldn't hold up. So, those are things that the Steelers certainly need to address. But the Eagles were not the Eagles were in a tough spot last year at this point. And there's a lot of Eagles fans that were demanding to trade Nick Sirianni, that said that there was no way they were going to win a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts and with Nick Sirianni as their head coach. And look what happened, man. They were able to have a great offseason. They got the pieces that they needed to get, and they ended up turning around their fortunes, and now they're Super Bowl champions. So, obviously, the Steelers have a long way to go before we're talking about them winning a Super Bowl. But, I do think the Eagles' success this year after a late season collapse should give Steelers fans hope out there that after just one good offseason, the Steelers could 100% make a big return in 2025. Then we go in from Blue Apex here. It says, why not keep both Russ and Fields on semi-team friendly deals with the upgrades we'll get from this offseason? So I don't think you can bring both of them back. I think with Justin Fields getting the interest that he's going to be getting in free agency this year, if you bring back Russ, Fields is going to take another job to try and start somewhere else. So I think that's probably the reality of the situation, where if you want to bring back one of these guys, you have to pick between either Russ or Fields. You can't have both of them back. And, I would love for these guys to be back next year. I think that they're both good people. I think they both work hard. I think they both do a great job in the locker room as leaders. But at the end of the day, I think, you can't get both of them back. And honestly, if I were the Steelers, I'd want to bring in somebody outside the organization that might be a little bit better of a fit for Arthur Smith's offense. Before we get into the rest of the questions on this week's Steelers Talk mailbag, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics. And if you guys want this awesome TJ Watt t-shirt in your closet today, you guys can go to chatsports.com/TJ to get this awesome Watt t-shirt in your collection just in time for training camp in Latrobe. Now, obviously, we're still a long ways away from that, but if you love TJ Watt, he's going to get a contract extension this offseason, guys, so he's going to be around for at least the next 3 or 4 years. If you love TJ Watt, you love the fact that he's arguably the best defensive player in all of football, and you want a t-shirt to commemorate your love for him, make sure you go chatsports.com/TJ. Also, if you use our link right down there below me and you make a purchase, Fanatics is going to send us part of the proceeds. So that helps out our channel. It helps out you. All that's good stuff, man. So go to chatsports.com/TJ and get your t-shirt today. Got one from Steelers Dad, my man. And he says, what about Trevor Lawrence? So first of all, it's just not going to happen. I think it was Benjamin Albright, Mark Caboli, and Tom Pelissero all came out and said, this report is bullshit. It never happened. The Steelers never even called the Jacksonville Jaguars for Trevor Lawrence. And I think Caboli even said that they weren't even interested in Trevor Lawrence. So I don't think Lawrence is a legitimate option for Pittsburgh. You take a look at his numbers from last year, and they were not very encouraging. Honestly, I think at this point, given the price tag of getting Trevor Lawrence versus the price tag of getting Justin Fields, I'd rather have Fields. It's pretty comparable numbers, actually, when you look at them last season. I do think Trevor is a better player than Fields is at this point in his career, but they're not that far off, and I'm definitely not giving up a first-round pick and then some. Plus, I'm paying him 6 years, the biggest contract for a quarterback in NFL history. I just don't know if he is worth that kind of capital and that kind of resources. So I'm going to have to pass on Trevor Lawrence. But, hey, you don't have to worry about it because it's not going to happen. Then we got one from Rad Swag. JPJ is him. Says, rank your top 5 options for the Steelers starting quarterback next season. So for me personally, and, I don't have Justin Fields in my top 5, just to warn you guys. The reason for that is I think that Fields has too far of a ways to go in his in-structure playmaking, and he's too much of a projection for me to say, that I'd want to bring him back, because I don't think he's capable of winning a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. Now, who knows? Maybe the veteran options aren't good enough to win a Super Bowl either, but I want the Steelers to at least give it their best shot to try and give Cam Hayward a ring. So for me personally, number 1 is Matthew Stafford. Number 2 is Sam Darnold. Number 3 is Aaron Rodgers. I think Rodgers is a little bit better on film than people, say he is. The Jets were a joke last year, don't get me wrong, but he can still exist inside a functioning system. Then Derek Carr is number 4. I have concerns about his ability to play in the cold, so he's not a great option either. And then number 5 is Russell Wilson. If I'm being honest, right now, the 2 guys I really hope the Steelers get, either Matthew Stafford or Sam Darnold, Rodgers, Carr, and Wilson all have their issues about them. They're non-ideal options, but I think if the Steelers can get either Matthew Stafford or Sam Darnold, I think those 2 options are pretty darn good. So go ahead right now and click that thumbs up icon if you are a real one. If you watch our shows, you watch our videos every single day, you watch our live shows, you do all that stuff to support this channel. If you're a real one, click that thumbs up icon. It really does help out the show, guys. Going from my man DJ KJ, says, Steelers, who would you have at quarterback, Sperry, Coop? Stafford, okay, Manning or trade, everything for Mahomes and the refs. It's a funny question there, DJ KJ. For me, if I'm picking one person, it's Matthew Stafford, and it's not close. And I'm willing to give up the first-round pick to go get him. Perfect fit for Arthur Smith's offense. He's already gone to another team and won a Super Bowl in his first year there. He's got the arm strength to play in the AFC North. He's one of the greatest clutch performers in the history of the game. He just does a lot of I just love him, dude. I love Stafford's game. He's a top 10 guy. He's the only top 10 quarterback that's gettable on the open market this year, in my opinion. And because the Steelers are trying to win now and get Cam Hayward a ring, I think Stafford gives them the best chance to do that. And then he says, give me Arch. Pizza is goated. Says, what happened to James Daniels? So he got hurt last year. Believe it was his Achilles. It was his Achilles. Last year, early in the season. He was playing great, and then, boom, snap, season over, and Mason McCormick had to come in prematurely. He was not ready to take on that role last year, guys. And the original plan was for Daniels to play the entire 2024 season, and then in 2025, after a full year of development, McCormick would then come in and replace him at right guard. So hopefully, that plan is still in place. McCormick can still have that development. Now he has a little bit of playing experience under his belt. It wasn't very good, especially down the stretch. He got his ass kicked a little bit on the right side, but he's a player that I really believe in. He's got great physical ability, can move well, powerful guy. The team clearly believes in him. So watch out for Mason McCormick after a full offseason training at right guard to hopefully have a bounce-back season next year and really be a mainstay in this offensive line for years to come. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. Lots of great questions. Hope I was able to provide some insight today and provide some value to you guys. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us here at Steelers Talk. I will see you guys next time. And until next time, here we go, Steelers.